Alright. We are back. Everybody's here. Let me get the stream chat up. And then go to the back. Why won't let me go to the back? Go to the back. Because there was no back when I opened that up. That's why. Alright, so we're going to have Wolfgang, our returning champion.
I already did that, Eli.
We got to reset it.
Oh, fine.
So there's no game advantage.
Alright, well, that's true, I guess. If you want to play it like that.
What? We got Wolfgang going up against Scythe. Returning champion versus the newcomer. Blanca and Gil. Oh boy. Okay. Not gonna pretend like I see this matchup too often. Although my summation would be that it feels like it's probably kind of on the Gil's end. Would depend slightly on how safe Blanca balls are, which I'm not sure actually. Lariat feels like it should work to a decent amount, but I haven't lived it out extensively. Although it's way easier for Gil if you just parry the Blanca ball, obviously, then you get a much heavier punish. But we also know Wolfgang's nowhere near that predictable and will not just give you an easy bake option to the neutral. So we'll have to see how it plays out, what options Wolfgang looks for. Also, what loadout they're going with, yeah, because this is B skill 2, B trigger 1, which, if I recall correctly, is what they used for most of their run, if not all their run last week. So, see a lot of anti-fireball pressure from that B skill 2. As soon as that gets charged up like that, shot of earth. That used to be an ultra for Blanca and 4. Now, like, Blanca can just get it multiple times around. As you can see right there, even without the charge, it's very effective. And that's going to make Scythe's zoning game real hard, in addition to the regular rainbow rolls and anti-projectile stuff that Blanca already has. Including that down toward head punch, which is a slide even though it's a punch. I don't understand how people decide these things. It moves forward and hits low.
Well, he's sliding on the ground.
But we move forward. Nobody slides off the ground. Everybody is on the ground when they're sliding. Anyway,
Yeah.
Scythe gets the fire type. Still have to be careful here as Wolfgang has activated V trigger 1. So now those fireballs instantly deleted by the V trigger 1 Blanca ball, which is buffed as well as access for Wolfgang to those plus frames. The sweep into the V trigger 1 specific move gets the hit, but Scythe mashes out. Those are not plus frames on the EX knee drop. Gil is not Urian, does not get plus frames on EX knee drop automatically. Has to be like perfectly spaced out and meaty. Wolfgang wisely challenges to -2, gets the counter hit confirmed, sends it to the corner. Scythe about to get a second bar, but you see another anti-projectile option there. Wolfgang utilizing the whole kit, got the crush counter confirmed. Challenges through the V-shift break, you accept that, but then Scythe able to get the dash up after V-shift. You're not supposed to be able to get dash up at the V-shift break, but Wolfgang late to the reaction. Oh, but then on time there for the dash up challenge. Gets the counter hit, then the shimmy. Won't be able to kill here, I don't think. Close? Not enough. Apu, plus frames. Plus frames. Waits, trying to bait the super. Shake my hand. Shake my hand. Shake my damn hand. Wolfgang with Shades of Revilo using that button, single button with a great hitbox. Very hard to interact with, just like Zeku's light kicks. Blanca stand medium punch, hard to interact with, and there's not a lot of value for Blanca there. There's not a lot of follow-up damage. But if you just need one more button to win, it's hard to do much better with this character, as Wolfgang demonstrates. Anti-air on time there for Wolfgang. I was a little surprised by that. Scythe forced to start over. The ice falls from far away. Now the lariat, fire lariat for the pressure, but gets thrown out.
Oh, wait, what?
Yo, shout out to the
Wait.
Twitter combos.
Oh, no.
Super Gil tech, build V, gauge, and EX at the same time. Oh wow, patience. Turns into a slide and activate. V-shift gets tracked down, and this is gonna meaty guard break. I think Scythe had, I don't think that hits on frame 1, so I think Scythe had time to parry and could have V-shifted as well. Nice setup again from Wolfgang. Was represented a few different types of mix-ups. Ooh, knee drop, air to air. We'll give you the follow-up. Nice job there by Scythe. Has a life lead. EX command grab through the projectile. Look at all the different ways Wolfgang has gotten through those ice balls. Yeah, the Blanc balls, but that's not safe. The punish is light though, so Scythe doesn't take the round. Another chance for Wolfgang. The whiff punish is there, but not the follow-up. Wolfgang with another chance here. Scythe V reverses to build space. Fireball through the damage again. The slow ice ball still fast enough to hit Wolfgang out of the V skill 2 usage. The shot of Earth doesn't recover fast enough. Scythe takes round 1 of game number 2. Has 2 bars on deck, so Scythe is in a good spot here, but is backing up and losing a lot of space. You see a lot of respect for that shot of Earth, that V skill 2, and Wolfgang is really making that work. Take control of the screen. Nice counter hit confirm off the stand light kick. And poke pressure there from Scythe. Gets clipped here by an EX Blanca Ball. There's not a lot of pressure there. Ooh, that's a dangerous break. And a really good parry. Also dangerous, but Scythe making it work. This is the steamroll of this character. That's a full punish. Scythe here looking real good for this. The EX Rainbow Roll gets out into the medium kick. Wolfgang knew they were going to get a chance there. And now they have corner pressure set up. The cross up. The hop through. The hop through again. Where you V-shifted. Nah, the stun's not going down. The plus frames are here. What you gonna do? EX Lariat for the armor. Doesn't need it, but does get the hit. And then the EX knee drop air to airs again. Yo, Scythe bringing the left side adaptations. You don't normally see these, but you catching them today. Scythe evening it up 1-1. This is 1-2. Bacchus, first time chatter. What good? Check the manicure. You're right. Yeah, for the medium punch.
The medium punch, yeah.
They are very colorful nails in this skin. Bacchus, when you coming through? When we get in Dash Up EX SPD?
When are we gonna see?
When we get in D-Trigger, when do I not have to stress?
Get scooped up, like.
Yeah. Just let me talk about it. You and Slurpees and stuff. Both y'all be giving me trouble, messing with my streaks and ranked.
The streaks. Gotta protect the streaks.
Come through and get some of this match.
My streaks. Oh, the overhead combo.
Rare footage.
It says once a week, yeah. It's usually on Wednesdays, but World Warrior Top 8 is this Wednesday, so we're gonna just do it this day.
Yeah.
But and if Tuesday works, but yeah, I think Wednesday.
Wednesday will work better for the most part. We're back at it again.
Oh my god!
Check the manicure. Yo, you see Blanca curl up the left hand, so the same manicure, so you can see it on both sides. So this for everybody.
Nah, it's how it has to be.
You was good, Bacchus. You know.
I'm just
talking.
And that's
the air options.
No, it would be if Eli had a big streak and I was playing, I would try to like mess his streak up, like.
Yeah, well.
It is personal. This.
Not allowed to have a big streak to me. Alright, back to the match. Wolfgang, match point. Gets caught from V skill 2, but
Thanks
not everyone.
For the follow, so.
Scythe here. Oh wow, gets the anti-type. That's a double retribution combo and resets it. Oh, a third? Okay, so gonna use a V-trigger. It's a lot of the V-trigger used, but the anti-type set up again. What a cancel from Wolfgang. Was ready the instant they saw the animation. Crucial tech there by Scythe. Anti-type gone. Scythe V-trigger going away. The last bit of Wolfgang's is gone as well. There's the light Blanca Ball. The max switchback. That's the one I don't know if Gil can punish. The other two I'm certain of. But that one I'm not sure. The shot of Earth catches, but no! What? What? The delay hop through EX up ball beats V-shift?
Did that punish?
Yeah, it said counter hit. That was a punish.
Oh, jeez.
Yo, the mind of Wolfgang is a dangerous place.
Wednesdays are usually tough before 7. Oh, no.
Oof.
Yeah, it's tough to find a good day for everyone. If only we could all just...
it's the nature of a weekly.
Yeah. Right, if we could all just be able to just not have anything to do on that day.
Just play Street Fighter
all day.
Your whole life. Okay, Revilo.
Revilo versus...
Nah, I'm next.
Wait, Revilo is already in there? Right,
yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Alright, we gotta give... We do the invite. Wait, I can't feel it.
Oh, might be. I was typing.
Oh, see, because you had done a good job as a TO to say that they were on deck.
Yeah.
So they knew already. So Revilo was ready and waiting.
Yeah.
Doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, Ouija's in here now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, kick Scythe. Oh, wait. I was about to say just kick Scythe.
It'd be like that. Hold on. Let me go to the back.
Yeah, go back. What do you know?
I'm pulling up stream chat.
Cool. I guess.
Tell everyone to start at 10
no.
p.m. Nah, how am I gonna get to sleep?
Not Thursday morning fights. No, I wanna get this done.
Yeah.
We start at a sharp time and end, I don't know, but whenever we get it done.
Yeah, we start. Well, these last two we've been 7 p.m. sharp.
Yeah, but we start at a sharp time, so we don't. That's why we don't bleed up into the AM.
Yeah, it's definitely not the case. Shout outs to Vasuki, longtime follower, mod, and
Wish you luck.
representative.
Oh. Okay, Vasuki.
Have a good night. Good luck.
Have a good night. No sleep. No sleep ever.
Man.
I mean, with Eli, no, he would use that time to play Civilization.
That is correct.
Until, like, oh my gosh, I'm still mad.
Peter is getting smoked out of Africa tonight. We march on in preparations for the big war after that. Anyway, Ouija Plus, Revilo, again. This bottom side of the bracket is literally just like West Coast Online local, like grand champions up against each other. Scythe was also in the West Coast.
Oh, Ouija Plu?
Local,
Ouija Plu.
was also in that top 4 from this week as well, this most recent week. So got off. I think we got all 4 of the people who were in that top 4 in this bracket, which was pretty dope. Oh,
Crouch heavy
Antony,
punch.
crouch.
It just doesn't look like a Chidantia, you know?
No.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
the palm.
Palm breaker.
Ouija has used both V-triggers in their run thus far, and both of them have had some impressive counters here. You see Revilo stopping all of that, not allowing Ouija Plus to get in. DP, no, not there! Crouch medium punch. I don't know what Revilo was trying to do there. Got caught, and now was in the danger zone. Oh my gosh, the fierce lands. Here we go. The mix-ups. The mix-ups. The EXDP was on the wrong side, and it came out as a medium kick. Ouija gets another round. I told y'all. You gotta be ready. You go to the corner with Ouija. I don't care what side of the corner they're on. You are in danger. This is the rule. Back throw. So much damage. But not in time for the meaty. And now, Ouija ready to go.
Wait, what? That
They
was
are
weird.
hopping.
Yo,
Throw-
wait,
Yo!
wait, you can throw him out of that? He's not an airborne? He's like kicking
Nah, he lands
though.
right before he kicks.
I get,
Oh, I
geez.
hate when that happens. The forward medium punch into the B skill
That's
always
a punish,
juggles.
right? Oh wait, no, he's... Oh my gosh.
Revilo does find a way out though.
Just bouncing
Got it?
around? Yeah,
Nice.
got him.
Perfect usage of the V trigger too. It's the most damage you can get out of it as well because for some reason Zeku still can't combo into super from that.
No DP though.
Yeah. Or usage of V trigger 2 again, so Ouija.
Oh
with the back
yeah,
wall
it
jump.
could have done VT2 again too. That's
Yeah.
right, there was another usage.
Ouija up 1-0 here again. Ouija looking to clear the West Coast Online region on the way to a date with Wolfgang in the winner's side finals.
Wait.
What?
Round 1.
It's a date.
Oh yeah, it is a date.
It's a
Be there.
predetermined time and place
Be there or
for
be
a
square.
pre-engaged activity.
Yeah.
We just don't know who's getting to go on the date. Oh, nice confirm. Rarely seen combo.
Yo, wake up slide. Roundhouse.
Okay, Revilo's opening up
Roundhouse cheap.
into the palm. V-shift. Smart not to break. That was a light attack. If you V-shift break a light attack, a lot of times you're setting yourself up to get baited somehow. Speaking of baited, look at Revilo. Wanted the corner pressure, and that's what Ouija was hoping for. But the wake up jab, that's a 3-frame. That's as fast as you can do.
Round 2.
I mean, not with Laura though. Laura, you can shave off a half a frame there.
That is just, I mean, that's the same. But people meet Laura wrong.
No.
It's not more often.
Remember when Ibuki would like have her weird ass animation? So it basically was the same.
Young
that
Zeku had it too.
Oh my god, I hated fighting Young Zeku. It was so cheesy. His jump and the wake up. Oh, wake up stand medium punch.
Okay. Back to the corner. The front throw. Looks. Oh no, that's not V trigger
That's
one.
not
Revilo,
BT1.
you. Why did we let him cook? Oh no, he got too. He got too into the autopilot. Was feeling the V trigger once and the V trigger whiffs. No, but no punish on either side. Very fortunate for both of them actually. Back or no front throw here for Revilo. Look for the shimmy. Not there. The waiting.
Yo.
Oh my god, the air-to-air combat. What is happening? Wake up low forward again. The disrespect. Look for the shimmy. It's not there. It's there. Revilo playing peekaboo with a grown man's defenses. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Got your ribs. Alright, 1-1. See the confidence Revilo plays with. in
Yo,
time.
yeah, that walk up full back. Yeah, no, that shimmy was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was very.
That's a low health shimmy. You know, if you get caught there, that's a very easy round to lose.
No, that's dead. Yeah.
1-1 here to start it out with.
Even a DP or something, you know. Like...
Okay. Reload. That's the thing. If you're playing Young Zeku, your anti-air options are a little tough to represent against Rashid because Rashid can change his jump arc. So it makes it a bit tougher to anti-air.
It's committal though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you block one of those, though, it's good damage.
Speaking of good damage, counter hit medium star to shout out the bum. Some of the best you can get in this game. In just about any game, really. Patience here from Revilo. Gets the front throw. Walks up, gets another front throw. Good pressure here. Checking for the attempt from Ouija to get out. It does come, but the anti-air.
DP, let's go.
I don't know what that move is especially called. Up gram.
DP.
Vertical gram.
It's a DP. Wait, how did that not get?
Wasn't the right arc.
I guess. When I jumped, that I always get hit.
As it goes, Luigi up against the wall here. This is match point for Revilo, but now
getting mauled.
the final form is activated.
Getting mauled by. It doesn't matter. Ooh, never
nice.
mind. It kind of mattered now. That was sick.
Actually, I don't know if the game counted them as in that state once they hit the wall. Doesn't matter. At this point, finds the medium kick into the activation. I told you, danger mode still activated. Back throw.
That was an instant back throw. That was like, nah. Imagine back like, no.
Revilo able to get the jump medium punch to stuff it out. There it is again. Oh, but it's before the wall. You see,
no,
so
I still got good pressure though. Yeah, you still get pressure though.
But you see Revilo. You see how much Revilo is like aware. Oh, no challenge.
Plus frame.
EX to keep it safe.
It's only +1 though. It's not that plus. Oh no, what punish?
Oh.
That would have been because he wanted the DP and activate for extra damage. Damn.
I think they both would have gone the wrong way there. I don't know. I don't know how.
He didn't. Yeah, just him didn't put the cross cut right. It was probably an auto crack. That.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. And our sweep. All right. Guile. Right.
Oh, the lows. Look at the lows. Just walking with Ouija. Doesn't get to throw on the EX run this time.
I wonder if they could have punished that. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, probably would have been slide instantly. Yeah.
We don't know though. I don't know the block stun for that too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that anime. I don't know that. I don't play either of these characters like that.
I'm curious.
Yeah, we could test it one day.
Somebody clip that.
I'll test it.
We'll look that up. We'll look that up for y'all.
Yeah, I'll test it.
Revilo and Ouija should know it, but we'll look it up for you.
I'm just interested in it. Yeah.
All right, Ouija. Man, I think this is set point for both of them.
Yeah, it is. Oh my
God.
lord! What? I mean, it was They were in VT. They were in VT too. That's so much damage.
Yeah.
Yo, that even things up perfectly.
That's all the resources off the wall.
Double dash. Sweep. Yo, the Rashid classic.
The patience.
No
anti-air.
No. Caught the backdash. Caught the backdash with the glam.
If
Ouija swept again, yeah.
Oh my god.
But this time, no sweep this time.
Yo.
See, this is why Rashid players do it because it's so rewarding. It would have worked. It would have worked. It would have worked.
They play rock paper scissors for their lives.
Yeah, it would have worked. GG's.
I'm so good. This is the stress I'm feeling, and I'm just commentating. I don't have to care who wins, and my heart rate's still going up from these choices. Shout out to Revilo though. They get over to the winner's side.
All right.
We're gonna be dipping down into the losers bracket.
Oh yeah,
I
should just have this up as top 8. This is top 8. Yeah.
So we're gonna give Wolfgang and Revilo will get a break. We will move down into losers. Where our first match will be.
It's right here, Antony versus Kerg.
Okay. Oh, look at her.
I got this, Eli.
Okay.
No worries. That's what I said. Just worry about inviting the people and commentating and stuff.
Don't worry.
Everything else I'll handle.
About a thing. Cause every little thing.
Speaking of, it's top 8, Eli. You know what time that is.
Worry. Not me. No, not me. We
I know.
about that
No,
already,
I know. You know, but for me though,
good.
you know what time it is. After I set everything up, let me. Oh shoot, I cleared it. Who was player 1 Kerg, and then Antony too.
With the barbecue. Barbecue sounds real good.
It
or does. that truck out over on the across the street from the El Super.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Can TOs eat victory tacos?
Yeah, it's a victory. If it's a successful tournament, it's a victory.
What does a TO need? Chat, what do you think constitutes a successful tournament? How do we earn
if
victory
people
tacos?
if people have fun?
Round 1.
I guess.
I don't know how to quantify that.
I don't know. So if somebody says they had fun after they're done with the playing in the tournament.
Very fair. All right.
I guess.
All right. Kerg on player one side, Antony player two side.
Oh shoot. Who's next?
Anthony, that was a nice punish on the dash punch. Normally, Ken's punish would stand light kick against -4 things, but stand jab, I don't know. I just usually don't see that. It's like stand jab and a heavy punch DP. Oh, no cancel there from Anthony, but this is a solid life lead. The dash punch lands. That was danger close. Afforded Kerg the counter hit combo. Nice crouch medium punch buffer into the EX Tatsu. Stuff Fierce. Kerg has used Fierce a lot here. I'm starting to see Antony adapt buttons in order to match that decision making. Another dash punch. Counter hit again, but no confirm. Kerg trying to make use of the plus frames. Has V trigger 1 on deck. Antony's still using 2-2 here. Didn't mention that. I guess Antony just feels more comfortable. Oh, there it is, and it's gonna activate itself. You do get that meterless thanks to V trigger 2, and you get the follow up, and you get Oki here. Take throw. Gets stacked here by Kerg, who activates off the Fierce, but it doesn't combo. I guess it needs to be EX only for that route. Very unfortunate. Oh my gosh, so scary here. Antony playing with fireballs, and it goes. It hit the tap. It hit the tap. Why is the tap frame one projectile invincible? Poor Balrog. They're never gonna change it. I'm never gonna cry about it. Antony's happy about it. Goes in. Round 2. Counter hit confirmed for Antony. Gotta get more plus frames. Dash up, throw. This is tough. Which way do you go? Okay, 3-frame challenge. Stops Antony from walking up and throwing again. That stun gauge bleeds down here for Kerg. They get a chance to fight. They get the V-skill punch, but they don't activate. They might not get, oh, they get a chance, okay. Antony doesn't get the super. And that's gonna give Kerg one last chance, although I think now it's actually pretty much over for Kerg, unfortunately, with that activation, because now Antony just needs to find the chip into the CA to finish it, and with that little bit of life done, yeah, it's over. You saw right there Antony's tone. The minute you activate V-Trigger in that situation, you're signing your own death warrant if your opponent is aware, because then they just wait until they can whittle you down, chip you out, and there was nothing that Kerg could do at that point. Gotta be aware of your resources, your life bar being one of them. If your life bar is low enough against a character with a chip critical art, which is most of the cast, you gotta be aware of that, or you lose. And Antony's showing exactly why they're one of the strongest players on the West Coast. Oh, walk up medium punch. Don't see that very often. Nice, V-skill through, but no punish there from Kerg. No cross up either. So the jump over does nothing. Oh, drop punish there from Antony. Kerg gets free damage. Love to see it. If you're the Balrog, enjoy it. Ooh, punish the meaty dash low. This is not a safe non-sweep for you, Balrog, sir. Tech there from Kerg. Avoiding going to the corner. Meaty dash punch, that will be safe. EX dash punch, that'll be plus. Ooh, whip punch is there, but no cancels. Okay. Another medium kick. The jump scare button. The cross up button. The jump medium kick into the DP. No super. Doesn't matter. Antony did need it. I got half a mind to check the inputs to see whether or not Antony meant to super there and it didn't come out. But I'm not going to blow him up. We'll see. They saved the meter regardless. Going to this match point for Antony with full bar. But ooh, look at Kerg representing stand fiercely. We saw those earlier, and now they're starting to pay off. Crouch medium punch too. Really good button placement here for Kerg. Just gotta have those cancels on deck for the crouch medium punches so you can turn that into pressure. That's what's next. You see it right there, and that's what's gonna give pressure. Gets the throw, doesn't. Nice adaptation from Kerg. Doesn't go for the low rush punch that would have been punished. Still got caught by the stand medium because it's a jump scare play. Crush counter roundhouse. Ken mode activated. This is it, baby. This is the power fantasy. Gets the stun. Not gonna kill with the CA, but it'll be close.
Yeah, it's gonna kill. It's gonna kill.
Is it?
Yeah, it's 100% gonna kill.
We're over the threshold?
Oh,
no, we're not getting there.
Now it's not gonna kill.
Oh, and now Kerg with another activation. He is outside of... Woo! You never outside of getting whiff punished in the EX Tatsu range. Not if you in the corner, though. Antony, way to get it back. Okay. I see you. Ugh. That was filthy. That was kind of filthy. Honestly, that's worth dropping the super combo because that's cleaner. That's a lot prettier. Although I do want to know whether or not that would have killed. But now we'll never know. Me it says yes. Maybe it was yes.
It was gonna kill.
Alright.
It's Endabio versus Wessdance.
Let me in so I can send in. Golf girl. Well, I'm not a golf girl, and I don't think Mia's a golf girl.
I don't think I'm a goth girl. I like to wear all black most of the time, but
I don't know what counts.
I wouldn't call myself goth. No, not at all. Like I can wear some goth stuff, but I have some but I would not.
Oh, pad issues. Antony said there was some pad issues today.
Pad issues today?
That's tough. That's still a really good whip punish. How about emo? Definitely not emo.
I'm not emo. I don't
She
think.
can
At
be
least I can be kind of emotional
A little
though.
bit. That was a fun set to watch. Kerg is always good for fun sets.
You can drop down.
I need to go get to the back of the queue. Alright. Now we get protagonist feed protagonist. Saturn Bars completed third strike. Took out Math Boy in their first match in winners. Now they're up against the protagonist of Street Fighter 6, the future of Street Fighter himself, Luke, who has a last name, but I don't remember what it is. Is it Thomas? I don't think it's Thomas. Luke something. Regardless, Endabio, Saturn Bars. Loser side. Winner of this faces up against Ouija Plus. Loser gets 7th place, which is nice depending on the tournament. I don't know how they'll feel about a 7th place here. Let's not worry about it.
We chilling.
First two until top 4, so the next few matches are still going to be first to 2s. Nice and smooth as we work our way back up to that last 4. We got Revilo and Wolfgang chilling in winners finals.
Round 1.
And we're finding out who's going to fill
Wait,
out our
Ken?
bracket.
Not Luke?
Yeah.
Where's Ken?
Interesting.
I mean, where's Luke? I want to see Luke. Luke is cuter than Ken. Oh, that's big. Big drops.
You'll get that with both characters if your confirms aren't on point. Nice combo there.
Who is this Ken using default one? How dare they?
I feel that, Anthony. I've seen multiple lures in tracksuit color 1, and it's making me a little uncomfortable. Making me feel a little territorial.
Hey, I was playing
Not you. Neither one of them were you.
No, it's just funny. I was mentioning it. Okay. I don't know if that fireball was on purpose, but damn.
Yeah, I
It
feel
got
like
ate
that
up.
was
It was an input error, maybe,
Yeah.
or a buffer.
Yeah,
Or
it
if
was
it
supposed
not,
to be EX or
if not,
something.
it got ate up anyways. Whatever it was, it got
Whatever the
ate.
case may be.
It got swallowed up by the memes.
Stand fierce. Yo, Alex just got anti-airs on heavy punch.
Yeah.
Just whichever one, just throw it out there. You
Well,
got it. Well, not throw it out.
whichever
timer
one. Not forward heavy. Well, it can hit.
I've definitely been hit out of there.
Me
before
too.
that. That's
Ooh,
a
big punish.
Okay. In the bio, trying to represent. Cross cut, on time. D skill for extra pressure.
Is it Endabio or Endabio? I thought it was
Actually,
Endabio.
didn't say- I don't remember.
I don't know.
Cross up top to the crouch. See, and Saturn Bars goes for the crouch heavy punch, and that gets stuck. It's like, that's why the Fierce is coming out to actually be on time and then not get crossed up. Respect. Smash on point again here for Saturn Bars. Oh, and again the crouch heavy punch gets beat by the top two. And again the EX elbow slash.
This is kind of scary actually. No, because Alex don't have a DP. A dash throw, like, yeah.
Okay.
That wasn't real.
It was not real, but it worked. It's not frame tight.
You have to, it's a run, the run throw. I thought double dash throw was minus.
It can be challenged.
Yeah.
EX head smash again. I know there's a follow-up for that. I know he got that.
What?
Alex got EX head smash into something else. But I guess maybe it's not more pressure. Or maybe it's D32 only. I don't know. Oh, no cancel. Saturn Bars had it. Only needs one more.
Medium punch. So.
Another. Check the Manny.
Alex wins.
Strong closeout buttons. Saturn Bars goes up 1-0.
-1 after dash. Yeah.
Mhm.
See? I know
Nice.
frame data sometimes.
Nice flip move there.
Not very good with math, but
Endabio sticking with the Kin pick.
yeah, committed.
Oh, the Tatsu now too late. Saturn bar sped up the crouch fierce and got the punish, but
If they
The
did a
power bomb
faster
gets-
one, yeah, it would have connected.
that is -4, but I think safe against Alex in most ranges.
Depends on the range.
Missed
Uh-oh.
activation. That's not gonna crush counter. No, that doesn't crush counter. Saturn bars gets a second chance. Gonna go for the super here.
That's dead.
Yeah, definitely gonna make sure to cash out and kill. But you can tell Saturn bars thought they were gonna get a crush counter combo because Shin Ryuken looks like an uppercut, but it is not strike invincible. It's not fully invincible, so you don't get the crush counter state when it whiffs or is blocked. Whoa, jump fierce list. Different Endabio, who is up against the wall here. This is match point for Saturn bars. Fierce. Oh, powerbomb gets backdash, but no combo there. Endabio EXs to get through. That roundhouse looked a little close, but gets away with it. You see right now, Endabio trying to find a space to be. You can tell right now, looking for a spot to find their way. Saturn bars just the menacing walk forward, the menacing movement, constantly stalking towards the corner. But all that EX is gone now. Saturn bars, they get a big jump crush counter. That's gonna scale up. No way to kill here. But you do get the reset.
command grab will kill.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Looking for the DP, doesn't come. Endabio needs one hit into activation. And then if they can't win the round from that, they can definitely put it at even bars. Oh my gosh, even now. But look at the pressure from Saturn bars. First it was the crouch medium punch. Then it was a crouch medium kick to close out the round and the game. The set in the match. For Saturn bars. They move forward to play up against Ouija Plus. And we're gonna continue win losers, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah,
play
we're
those
gonna-
fifth place matches now. Which one's next?
Antony versus Scythe.
Okay. Scythe versus Antony. They didn't already play, right? Or did they
No.
play winners? Thought they talked to each other.
No,
In our
but
Discord.
they did talk to each other, but they didn't play.
Something else.
Wolfgang played Scythe.
Yeah. Revilo's here. Not yet, Revilo. Look at him chomping at me. Let me at him.
Ready?
I'll show you the wild.
Jeez.
Or did I send it to Revilo? Did I send it to the
You
wrong
might
person?
have. I don't know.
I don't know who I sent it to.
What are you doing? Why'd you send it to Ouija?
Wait, what am I doing? I'm bugging.
It's Scythe versus Antony. What do you?
I'm missing my confirms. Scythe versus Antony. Invites are sent.
Oh my gosh.
There we go. Back in the
Yeah.
queue. Reset the names.
Yeah.
We go.
I got it.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Alright, so here we have a run back of what was grand finals, I think, just this past Monday. Just yesterday, I think?
Huh?
Grand finals for the online local West Coast?
If today's Tuesday, so
Yeah.
yesterday was Monday, wouldn't it? It normally is, so yeah.
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 Back at it again, this time in losers. Winner of this moves into the 4th place match.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Thanks again, though, for people who donated to the match arena.
Yeah, we're sitting at $50 right now, so we do have a top 2 play out.
Yeah.
We get
play
to
out.
pay out
play out to pay out.
as it goes.
Round one.
Thank you, guys.
Fight.
Need to get that written down.
Play out to pay out.
No, the payout, how we do things for the payout.
Oh, the
percentages
percentages and
that should be written
stuff.
down, yeah.
Yeah, it should be.
We move on, however, right now, Antony got off to a good start. Found the jump over. That's gonna activate here for the Ice of Doom. Oh, punish that hard combo. That is not safe on block. That second part is very unsafe. First hit only -2. You see that, Antony doing it, letting it rock, and then blocking. No reprisal. Nice. Confirmation of the crouch when you kick into the EX Tatsu. Forces the attack from Scythe. Harassing the pressure now in the corner. Antony making use of that.
Gil's
Keeping
crouch
it at the max range. Scythe now. Still has parry available. But no confirmation.
That's sad.
Misconfirm.
No way. Gil's crouch dab is just like he's flexing, like crouching and flexing. It looks like it doesn't do anything. It's so funny.
Range is really weird.
It's not a good 3-frame in my opinion.
Nah, not really.
It's not. It's no Laura. It's no Laura stand like knife punch.
Laura and Akuma laugh at a lot of 3 frames in this game. That's all y'all got. Y'all got a crouch?
I mean, sometimes it's good though. The crouching 3 frames. It has its pluses and minuses, you know.
What is the advantage of a crouching 3 frame?
It whiffs on crouching normals whiff on it, and it
Standing normals can whiff on
yeah,
it.
standing normals can whiff on it and stuff like that. It's certain interactions are different, you know.
True. But you eat additional damage in the corner because you're a hurt box.
Yeah, because you're crouching. Yeah, it's trade-offs.
New combos are possible.
Exactly.
That is a sneak preview to a YouTube video we're gonna have coming up soon about the forbidden combos of Street Fighter 5. Really excited for it. I'm also excited to see if Scythe can make something happen here. Has a huge life deficit. Is in V trigger, so the damage can come. The sequences can come. Ooh. Just space that out.
Just a tippity tappity though.
Yeah. Trio Bow going out, getting a little bit of chip that it can. Antony far away from Super, yeah. Not really gonna get it before the time is over. So now just has this big life lead, and only 25 seconds left. So Scythe has to make something work. Antony is pressuring though, looking to end this very aggressively. So if Scythe can find something, like a big ass jump into the combo, in the super. Oh my god. Yes.
Oh my god.
No, it doesn't kill. 5 seconds left.
Oh my god.
Punish. Would have walked forward. No.
Wait,
No,
wait,
it's not-
who won?
It doesn't
Who-
matter.
who
Antony
won?
has a round, so it's gone.
Oh my god.
And even if that, yeah, Antony still had the life lead, but even if not,
Yo, that's
Antony
wild.
would have. Antony still would have won that because they would have tied rounds, and Antony had round 1-1.
What a match. Jeez.
What a game 1. That's so unfortunate.
What the fuck? Yo, I can't believe, yeah, the chip wasn't enough though. Like, and like the super, jeez.
Yeah.
Thought it would do more damage. I thought it would kill.
So
Yeah, no, the scaling is on his super is really bad. The gut scaling kicks in super quickly because of all the multi hits. Like, it's like, yeah, it's so much scaling because all those, because it doesn't do all the damage at once. Like,
You talking about the pop
Yeah.
up into the multi hits?
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay.
Yeah.
Just 2 hits. Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought you were saying it had to do with how many hits the second part of the super.
No,
does.
no,
Like, that
because
doesn't
with the
matter.
amount of damage, because you know, like when all like when they have like lower health, certain like supers like one hit moves, yeah, like
Yeah, they do more, yeah.
exactly. So it doesn't hit the gut scaling.
Right, but it's
But-
because there's 2 parts.
Exactly,
to the
yeah,
super,
because
not
it has multiple
yeah.
parts.
If
yeah.
the first part had all those hits, it would still
Yeah,
do the
yeah,
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
There's one big.
Yeah.
Sorry, we had to get in the nerd mode for y'all. This is what happens when you have 2 ultimate grandmasters who would be warlords.
Don't call me that.
What?
Don't call me an ultimate grandmaster.
What do you want me to call you?
It's
How do I appropriately acknowledge how good you are at Street Fighter 5? What's the title?
Player. I don't know.
That's strong enough indication of the time spent. But okay. Never mind. Anthony is trying to close out the set here while we're talking about other stuff. Welcome to the weekly, yo. This is how it's gonna be sometimes. Oh, can I activate there? Get the wall bounce. This is all so much EX though for Anthony, and they're happy to eat that. Oh,
yeah.
throw kills. Never mind. Doesn't even need it.
GG.
Yeah.
That was 2 over.
Duel.
Yeah. Just making sure I don't want to. Alright, it's Ouija versus Wessdance next.
It's a hard matchup to represent for Gil. I feel like you gotta be. I feel like with Gil, in order to make him work, not only the pairs have to be on point, but I feel like you have to make such great usage out of buttons that aren't best in the class. Like,
Yeah.
stand medium kick isn't the best poke, but you've got to make use of it. Ouija versus Saturn bars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, I feel like you got to make great use out of the stand medium kick. The stand jab and the stand light kick, I feel like, are so crucial for guild players in order to actually like poke back. But the buffers aren't great from those, and the reward is certainly not good either. So ultimately, he's kind of a great character when he gets to go off, but sometimes you just don't get that opportunity. But we are gonna get the opportunity to see Ouija up against Saturn bars.
Yeah.
Saturn bars took down the antagonist of 3, then the protagonist of 6, and now we got to go back in time and fight the protagonist of 5. Names?
Oh yeah, we should. Who was player 1?
I think it was Ouija.
Do you remember?
And even if it doesn't, we have swap, so it's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Ouija first. Yeah.
Cool.
Winner of this takes on Antony in loser semis.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it to the first to 3 stage. Doesn't tie with anybody.
Round 1.
Nah.
Fight.
Danger from the start here, pushing the pace. Already forcing Saturn bars to that corner. Just like that. Oh, look at that. Wake up front jump from Saturn bars was ready. Didn't finish the combo though, so didn't really get the type of pressure you kind of want here. Ideally, you want to get yourself out of the corner, and that's not the case. Right now, they are stuck in the danger zone. Boss mode Ouija activated. Oh, just missed time that that was supposed to be an anti-air from Ouija. You saw the stand heavy punch coming out. The input was just off. He shifted a jump there from Ouija. Doesn't get punished. It's dangerous. Oh, what a fierce! What a timing for the fierce. Ouija finds these timings, yo.
Rashid Fierce is so good at crush countering and converting. Like, it's so good. It's such a good button. It gives me nightmares. The amount of times I've been crush countered by that move.
Lost a lot of money to that move. Alright, let's go from Saturn bar. Ouija content to keep the corner. Another EX head smash.
Ooh, nice. That was clean.
Punishes the neutral jump, the crouch heavy punch. Sweeps the throw whiff. That's actually...
That's kind of, yeah, that's good.
I think, yeah, you could get more off a stand heavy punch, but that's still really good.
It's
and
still
put
good,
him on the
yeah.
pixel for stun scaling.
Good damage, gets a knockdown, yeah.
Yeah, right there. There's a lot of potential in that, but unfortunately, Saturn Bars wasn't able to follow up, and now you see Ouija once again doing what they do best. Gonna jump back here to get the V trigger 1 activation. Now we get the tricky stuff. Cross up to the cross up. Still got tornado. Oh, that's punish. Good activation.
Oh, no punish. Not a big punish though.
Close. Ouija doesn't quite pull it out. Roundhouse keeps it safe. That's the V trigger.
Yeah, didn't know. Yeah, didn't. It's a mix up.
Yeah, you're holding that to guard crush fully.
Yeah, but at that
Saturn
point,
bars.
like, yeah, taking a guard crush would have killed.
Yeah, so Ouija was intelligently, and they were middle of the screen too. So if they get guard crush there, there's not.
It's not a huge risk. Like, it's
so much. The second.
The reset. The reset.
Yeah.
It's the reset where they really have to guess at that point.
Yeah.
They didn't really need to guess there.
But Saturn tried to get past that. Figure, no, they're gonna jump out, let it go early, get a full combo and more damage.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it'd be like that.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Fiercest. Another neutral jump. This time it works out for Ouija. They put Saturn bars in the corner. The V shift doesn't get safe. Oh, whoa, whoa! I don't know what the inputs there were there. Ouija had to wait for the tornado with the stun combo, but the meaty crouch fierce is good enough.
Round 2. Fight.
Ouija plus now, match point. Oh, punish? Oh. Roundhouse and stand heavy punch. Definitely get the punish there for you if you're Alex. Probably get your EX slash EX chop as well, I would bet. Now Saturn bars, you see, once again, forced to back up. Try to find space in the back half of the screen. Oh, he shifted in the
Command grab.
hand grab attempt, and
V
he
shit.
was ready.
V shit.
Oh, crush count. Okay. Saturn bars, this is a space, but you gotta be careful. Nice, keeps it tight. Ouija tried to jump out. Gets caught. And that should be the round. Yes, indeed. Saturn bars representing themselves. Showing strong for the Maple Leafs out there. Gets around on the board. No cancel off that crouch medium kick for Ouija. No wood punish either. Roundhouse does land, so Ouija nice. Able to get out to a good start on the lead. Oh, the medium punch and counter hit. Leads to the beat skill 1 knockdown. And now we are in boss mode form. Here we go again. The wall jump pressure. Neutral jump. Mediums, staggering it out. Saturn bars looking for a way out. Finds the back throw. Close range. Oh, but the backdash escapes the delayed hyper bomb. And the wall jump angle gets away from the crouch heavy punch. Ouija back in control. Finally jumps out of an EX head smash. Didn't go straight up though, so didn't get a punish. Oh, look at this pressure. Saturn bars has a chance here. Backs all the way up. Oh, but the fierce knocks down. Still have plus frames. Oh, the good delay! Won't stun. Oh no. Should EX? The stop, no! Gets avoided, but no finish. There it is for Ouija. A tick throw. Oh, the scramblies.
The scrambles.
Oh, so unfortunate. I think Saturn bars just didn't have EX at the start of that German suplex. Maybe only got it after the animation started up. Either way, so close to stunning Ouija there, but not able to get it, and then not able to find the EX head smash. Ouija got out again and wins through on the scramble to close it out and send themselves to loser semis in those first to threes.
Yeah, it got a little yeah.
Oh yeah, it definitely got scrambling.
Got a
I ain't
little
gonna call it
dodgy.
anything other than a scramble.
Yeah.
100%. Next up, Wolfgang versus Revilo.
Winner is finals. Oh wait, let me change the thing. But shout outs to Wessdance getting 5th place. If my math is right.
Shout out
which
to the
it rarely is. Right?
But yeah, I'm not that.
Wait, oh my B. I'm sorry. me just clicking out away from stuff. Roll where right.
Yeah,
Revilo.
that was 5th place.
Cool. Okay. I'm just antsy.
Right. Chill.
No.
It's so cold in this apartment. Why aren't you chill?
That's exactly why I need to keep moving to stay warm in this cold ass apartment.
You should grab a blanket.
Probably.
It's not like you're going anywhere. Yeah. Just gotta reset it.
Yeah. Did you send it to first to 3?
Yeah, Revilo's in a rank match right now.
All right. Cool. All right, then I guess we just wait
It's the nature of things.
and we wait.
There we go. And then I go to the back.
Mhm.
All right, winners finals. First to 3. Wolfgang looking to double up, win back to back. Left side Smackdowns. Revilo looking to break in for the first time to the winner's circle. Winner of this is guaranteed a payout, as we did hit the $50 Matcherino amount thanks to generous donations from viewers like you. So the winner of this was guaranteed to get some cut.
Yeah.
And has, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no. Top 2 payout.
Hey.
Until it's another point. Until whatever. Ooh, I love this outfit.
Top 3 at $100.
That's my favorite Blanca. Well, but no, second favorite Blanca outfit, because Blanca-chan's my favorite.
GG, Saturn Bars. Thanks for coming through.
You'll figure out Rashid one day.
One day.
One day, me too. GG's. Thank
be
you
back.
thank you for entering.
We'll be back next Wednesday. Hope to see you again.
Yeah, everyone say
Heavy punch anti after Revilo, and the palm stops him on the way up.
palm breaker.
Slide activation. Wolfgang back at it again. This has been the wow.
I checked the dash. No, I checked the dash.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, it's just like it was a very confident choice there.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like a light trying to check the dash. It was a medium.
Yeah,
I wonder if Deku can do anything about those.
I don't think Ozeku can.
Yeah. I don't know this
Soft
matchup.
switch.
I don't know this matchup at all. Like, there's Zeku, I barely know. I barely know my matchup. It feels like at times. Angry Bird made me feel like I did not know how to play the matchup at all.
I knew what I was doing, but I was not winning.
Gosh, I got roundhouse to death. Ooh, okay.
Nope, that's
Nice.
counts as a projectile, buddy. It's not your fist, it's the projectile after your foot.
Guard break.
Yep. Revilo had no meter, no resources to avoid that.
Oh, got back
That's a
down.
reset attack?
I don't know. Can they combo? Nice.
I don't know. Nice jump back, medium punch to beat the rainbow rolls. Revilo tying up the rounds.
Final round.
Neat.
Fight.
Switching the Yang back here, finds the slide. Ooh, but Wolfgang able to walk away.
Oh
No
no.
counter hit.
Nice.
Wolfgang stairs. V-shift.
Yeah. You have. Yeah, I like the V shift a lot.
Oh, nice slide again to catch the rainbow rolls.
Looks like young Zeku fights Blanca a little bit better than old Zeku. But you want the DP though. That's the thing. If they had just young Zeku as a character but with a DP, that'd be so scary.
Yeah, he's really good. That's it.
Yep.
The up ball there. Full combo only contained within V-Trigger 1. I wonder what buffs. Because for at launch, a lot of people really thought V-Trigger 2 was the way to go with Blanca, and that changed. I think after the last patch.
The last patch or two, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you saw it.
Around sometime.
You see Wolfgang putting in the work there. Ooh, big jump in here as well. Vilo trying to represent the zoning, and then that didn't work out. Then switched too close, got jumped in on again. So that's an easy way to be down 50% at a round start. But you do get fast access to V-Trigger. V-Trigger's gone, but the slide was safe. Couple more throws, but then a slide from Wolfgang. Back at it. All that pressure, all that plus frames. Give me the screen space. Checks the run up. Oh, got caught though. Now it's Wolfgang de-skilling too close, getting caught by a jump in. Revilo gets the throw. Have to be careful here. We'll get another slide and activate. Revilo gets back thrown, and that is enough to kill. That's a true mix-up there, because if you try to avoid that throw, you get hit by a meaty. The combo kills you. You take the throw, you die. So you have to guess, because you don't have time to react to the throw animation. Unless you just delay it, then you might get you. Oh, the shoulder hits, but it goes the wrong way. It does not matter, but it's a little funky. Still great damage here for Revilo and a huge life lead that might just get erased in a couple of seconds. Wait a minute. Come back up. Come back and mount.
Oh
What?
my god, that hit?
Yep, D shit. No
Yeah.
DP? Okay.
I'm okay. Yeah, ooh. I was about to say just to get him away from you, but damn, Blanca's not letting up.
Nice check. And the
That
optimal
should,
confirm.
that should be dead for sure.
No, he
No
has-
meter!
Why?
Meter! Spend the meter. Oh my gosh.
Revilo. Is it
Scaring
like
me.
this?
Not like this.
Is it like this?
Yo.
Don't get caught.
Yep.
You got caught!
Got caught. Oh my god.
Wolfgang said, remember CBS 2? Doesn't matter, I'll show you. Crouch heavy punch.
Spend the meter.
Oh, what a tragedy.
Just spend it. It's not worth it. It's not worth losing the game.
Nothing more you can say there. Revilo's the first one that'll tell you that that absolutely should have been EX, but such is the way. We are now on to game number 3. Wolfgang.
Fight.
Looking good. It's a little scary though. Revilo's knocking on the door, but has to, you have to put sequences together
Nice.
at the highest level. You've got to turn defense into offense and follow that up. But you see Wolfgang able to get out with the backdash.
They're
Again.
hitting a lot of the rainbow rolls though, but yeah, they're just not getting on top of the situation.
It's just not the sequence. It's the next step to the highest level of Street Fighter play.
No. Nice.
Okay, yeah. It's a strange amount of invincibility on that V-Trigger 1. You can use it reverse.
Dead?
Stuck
I
in
thought
that
it was gonna be EX up ball, but but that works, I guess. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know much about Blanca besides mash, mash and hop. Nice up ball.
Wolfgang has charge for that. So many
Yeah,
times.
right? That's what I was like, because Hop, yeah, immediately low forward and the confirm into up ball, yeah, for the Oki.
Okay.
But look at all that stun.
I like this combo as well for Revilo.
Wow. No tag?
punish?
No punish?
Oh. Well, there's a cancel there, so you can't just...
Can you cancel that?
Yeah, you can cancel that into the V-Trick move. Yeah. We saw that earlier. So there is a window there. Oh!
That was really negative. Yeah, but you're afraid of the hitbox. Again,
Got him
you're just
again!
afraid of the hitbox. Oh, no.
Hee-hee!
Revealer gonna have to take a look at that and be like,
Yeah.
nah, I have time to interact with that move.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I ain't gonna
We've
front
all
with
been
you.
we've all been hit by it.
I haven't.
I've been hit by it. I've been hit by it. It feels so bad. I looked at it, I was like, it's like minus like 20 or something. It's like, what?
I escaped.
I was like, oh no. Why did I get hit by this?
Shout outs to the initiation rights. Wolfgang takes a 3-0 with the double EX ball setup. Well, that's Wolfgang for you though. That's the change of pace that Wolfgang provides. You're gonna get checked on dashes. You'll get anti-air. Wolfgang will whiff punish you. Will convert in so many of these situations. And then just when you're trying to play, you know, a little bit on the back foot, so you can try to be ready. Here comes this, you know, this knowledge check. Yo, did you know that you need to be ready to hit a button here, or that you need to tech here? Did you know which side I'm gonna be on in this recovery? Are you just doing punch to quick rise and not thinking about where I'm gonna end up? Because I might not be on the same side. It's a very tricky play style that definitely doesn't always work, but it's the way Blanca's run for like 20 years now. So Wolfgang, a worthy addition to the Blanca mains, giving people a hell challenge.
Just being an all-around menace. Rapscallion.
Now the loser semis. Still first to 3 here between Antony and Ouija. Get these names changed. Although I don't know who's on which side. But we'll figure it out. It'll be okay. Ouija player 1, Antony player 2. This is not winners finals. Loser semis. This is the finale of the online. Well, no, Revilo's actually sitting in losers finals, so never mind. But the grinders are showing out. One of them will earn the right to challenge Wolfgang in winner's side. Whoa, that was definitely supposed to be mixer. Or crouch medium punch, actually. Probably supposed to be. It was probably down for crouch medium punch that gave way to an overhead. But anyway, because I'm behind, Antony gets the stun off the back throw. That was max damage, but not enough to kill. Doesn't matter though. Gets Oki, gets the front throw. Takes round number 1, convincing fashion.
Round 2. Fight.
Well, you're gonna need to find a way to activate that offense, or else find more success in the middle of the screen. You see the crouch grace into the EX, and again, Antony will EX DP after that. Has shown that multiple times. Ouija able to walk out of the throw. Back it up there for heavy mixer. Yep. Looking for that space now that they're in the corner boss mode. Ouija is activated. Roundhouse -4. Good punish. Into the medium kick. Medium kick punishes the sweep as well. So the punishes are on deck here from Ouija. Slowly wearing down Antony's life bar. The stun gauge is building as well. Jump pressure here. Lands. Antony was late on the DP attempt. It doesn't get stunned. Oh, the shimmy was there, but just a little slow. The dash up throw, however, gets it to go. Ouija evens it up. 1 round apiece here in game number 1 of loser semis. Antony sitting on full meter. Fierce, no activation or no EX from Ouija. Patience. There it is. Into the throw. Antony doesn't DP this time. Takes the throw. But now we're in boss mode zone. Heavy mixer trades with the jump fierce. The shimmy comes through for Ouija. The stun's gonna start building up here. Looking for the tick throw. Doesn't come. Antony stays down to discipline. Trying to walk forward. Forcing space. Slight punish, gets the walk up back throw. Here we go. Reversed it. But Ouija just like that. Out of it with the wall jump. Oh, that was really close, but Antony doesn't activate V-Trigger 2, gets caught on the crouch pierce, and now Ouija's looking good. Has an opportunity for the mix-up. It lands. EX into the heavy mixer to take game number 1. Once again, Ouija showing a really strong pacing there. That was a risky V-Trigger 1. I worried if it was a bit close, but it was well-spaced, or at least timed as such that Antony wasn't ready to counter. And that's been the story of these two tonight, as this is their second time playing, and that's what we've seen. Ouija changing up the pace or going for an option at just a time when Antony is a little bit behind or just isn't ready for it, period. Even right there, the medium kick carried Ouija over Antony's jump heavy punch attempt. Oh no. Light Shoryuken. Just like that, Ouija's out of the corner. Just like that, Antony is in the corner. Ouija looking for a shimmy. Doesn't come. Nice D-Trigger 2 to interrupt. Not a true stream. Good punish here for Antony. A lot of damage. Ooh. Confirmed into a slight combo. Could have had Oki, but the fireball was safer. Sliding in. Ouija trying to get Antony to crack, but Antony doesn't want to do it. A lot of jabs. These two settle down now, but Antony's back is to the wall. The jump out will get heavy mixer, but it doesn't spit you back into the corner like it used to long ago.
Oh my gosh. Sad days. Sad days.
Definitely could have been a punch for Antony. That medium kick was -4, but they don't finish. But the double DP again works, just like it did the first time these two played.
Double down.
And you say, yeah, that's fine. I'm just setting up the spacing for the second uppercut. The second Shoryuken will land, surely. And that it had both times. He gets a dash up. Put the tick. Ooh, no confirm on that stand medium punch. Pretty sure Sweep would have landed there. Maybe a little far. I don't know. Ouija going for more pressure. Antony doesn't DP again. Gets caught trying to jump out. Ouija reestablishes the corner control. Goes back in. The light kick from Ken doesn't punish into anything substantial, so now Ouija feels free to continue. Heavy mixer again. Antony's able to reset though. Perfectly willing to trade the life. There's the crouch first into the EX fireball again. A great dash check from Antony. The crouch strong into the V-Trigger. Saves it. Has it on deck for another one. Antony still has a bit of a way to go in the life lead, and it's going to get even bigger after this. Although I think, whoa, that's some big chunks. That's going to kill. No. Oh, and a pixel. Oh, my goodness.
That's going to kill. That's going to kill. That's going to kill.
Dead?
That's dead.
No pad issues?
That's dead.
Dead? Dead. Get him out of here.
I told you. That's dead. That combo does so much damage.
Literally on a wing and a prayer, Antony survives and evens it up 1-1.
No.
How close was that?
No, that combo does so much damage. It's like if you get the full thing, no scaling, like nah.
I'm sad because that was a sick combo from Ouija. I've actually not seen that before.
Nah, Can VT2 is not busted, but it's very, very good.
Oh, okay. Light punish there from Ouija. There's a confirm there on the counter hit stand medium punch. Oh, big.
Oh, was
light
that...
DP recovers too quickly.
Yeah.
They could have
Oh
been punished, but
no,
slated, just
the
like
back throw. The tail is old as time. That Ken
Look at,
back
yo,
throw.
wait! Ouija waited. Look for the other DP. Antony doesn't do it. See these two jabbing each other. They're fighting for that. They're hand fighting over that little space in between them.
Yeah, don't do that cancel. Oh, never mind. They did a fireball anyways. Yeah, I gotta. That's the thing about Ken's VT. It makes you respect. No fireballs.
Yeah.
Like, nope. Can't get through with that.
The gluck action on Ken's V-Trigger 2 is very strong. The suction is
It
incredible.
work?
It does.
Okay.
There's some major
Hey,
slurp action on Ken's V-Trigger 2.
Well, anyways, Antony got 2 bars, and yeah, reactivating with
Oh, got
VT.
caught. No, follow up.
Sick.
It's all fine.
That was tricky, because he could have maybe drifted to the right and then done a overhead or a low mix up there. It's annoying. That drift.
Okay.
No what punish? That's my favorite. That's my favorite Fast and Furious movie.
I'm happy for you. Oh, the last hit of the fireball stayed on screen. That normally doesn't happen like that.
Another back throw? Yeah, back throw. It's just such an easy option to go for. Even if they try backdash or tech out, it's like, eh. But if you get that, ooh, that's... Yeah, not going to expend all the hits.
No,
The next hit's going to be devastating. The next hit's going to go into super and kill.
There it is. Nice. Caught the neutral
Dead.
jump. Oh, no.
Greedy! Greedy!
Does it work out?
Will the greed work? Oh my god, again. Again. Again with the DP. The light DP and the light DP. That's not what, 3? Is that 3 out of 3?
It's been perfect.
But the thing is, Ouija, yeah, Ouija waited one time at that. Yeah, jeez.
That's what, I'm not laughing at Ouija. Chat, please. If anybody's, I'm not laughing
It's very
at Ouija.
unfortunate.
It's the, I've been there.
Getting
It's
hit by
the
that
worst
DP.
feeling in the world when something like that keeps happening to you.
Especially, or you try to, you're trying to whip punish that and just nope. That DP goes recovers a lot quicker than most light DPs.
Oh.
Ken's and Seth's. Right? This is like the diamond tricks. I mean, they be working though. Hey, you gotta know when to throw them out.
Sometimes you just change the flag and just go Brazilian on them. Oh.
I don't think I've ever fought a Brazilian Ken. Oh, what?
Oh, no.
Okay, now
Whoa,
now
now.
what? Is that a pad issue?
Yeah, well, that's supposed to be like walk up, walk back, maybe crouch medium kick.
I don't know.
Or stand
Wait, they're
medium
still
kick.
live? Still live.
What?
Still live.
We all thought
Still
they were
live.
dead.
Oh, no finish? Yeah, trying to get that
Mixer?
roundhouse and activate. Yeah.
With the mixer, though. Okay, Ouija.
Rashid wins.
Gets it back. 2-1. Yeah, I think that was, though. Or at least, you're trying to walk forward and then you're trying to walk back and maybe you go in a down back.
I don't know. Or maybe it was just a
back crouch
Tatsu.
medium kick.
Yo, maybe it was just a throw bait Tatsu. Like, all the marbles.
Alright, are you going to say Antony just bet it all on the Tatsu?
I do it.
Okay.
I do it.
Oh, you could do that?
That's what I do.
Crush him up counters. Ouija with the pressure. Now you can hit him.
No. Come on. Nice.
There's a cross cut. Oh, man, Antony doesn't get to confirm this. Every time now it's like a Western between these two.
It's a standoff.
Yeah.
Whether or not, will happen.
Once again,
Good damage, yeah.
let me jump over. We've seen the sequence
Ooh,
a
the
lot.
counter hit.
Ouija tries to take a throw that doesn't
Back
count.
throw was done. Nice.
This will blow all
I
that
like
up.
it. I like it.
Hands off. That's the first one we've seen from Ouija. Their whole run, at least on stream.
Good block.
Done by Antony. Ouija trying to pull this out.
Oh,
it
no.
goes the wrong
That's
way.
unfortunate. Okay. Good block. Ooh, good counter hit.
You said it.
Yeah, those. I wonder if they could have gone EX there though to kill. I don't
After
know.
the jab?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know.
EX what? Eagle spike?
No mixer.
No, certainly not. Especially with the slowdown.
Oh, it's so slow now. That's right. Can it not combo into it anymore?
Antony waits this time. Make sure that the cross cut Shoryuken comes deep into the hurt box of Rashid.
I have a feeling it's.
Yeah. Antony pulling out the
Oh,
stops here.
backdash throw. Wow.
Consistent. That's 3 for 3.
It's just so
It's
just so funny looking. It looks like he's with jumping into Ken's arm.
Yeah, but it's just it's impressive though, because it's like how hard somebody gotta lab something like that out to get it every time.
Yeah.
That means Antony has had enough.
I wonder how many times they got overhead by that. What?
Oh, okay.
I wonder if that was on purpose or it's supposed to be a DP.
Well, it's light punch. You would think that it would have been a medium punch if it was meant to be a DP. That might have just been beating the empty jump.
I don't. Yeah, maybe.
Again, with the amount
Ooh,
these
that's
two
true,
play
that's
each
true.
other,
That's true,
yeah,
that's
I
true.
wouldn't be surprised if that's just a layer to a layer.
That's true because they have been doing empty jump lows a lot.
Gosh, that fireball seems close. Anthony's already back to the wall, and this is set point for Ouija.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is a big starter.
The thing is, Antony has so much meter. Like.
Yeah, but
It
that
can
could
turn
also be
around.
the downfall.
It can turn around so fast, fast. There's a fireball's gonna get thrown, right? It didn't get punished.
No, oh,
No punish
follow there.
again.
No cancel. Well, there was a punish, just no cancel.
Yeah, that's true.
Jump in.
This is
Back
almost
up.
more dangerous. Never mind. Rashid can get out of the corner. Wow.
Stop running at him.
another-
Wow, that was on time.
Activation? No activation.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
they want the
Yeah, Okay, trying to get the jump back jab. Ouija representing that tricky escape velocity. Jump back jab catches it, but that is a light attack, so it doesn't cause the float out. Have to do a medium or higher. What a meaty there by Antony. Says you have wall jumped enough for this game. We move on to game 5.
Ken wins.
You get like that's what I'm saying. These two do this every week. It's like Batman versus the Joker, and I'm not even gonna bother to tell y'all which one is which. You should actually with the double DPs, they're both pretty chaotic.
They're both Jokers.
Never mind.
They're both Jokers. Like, what are you talking about? That DP was that DP. Like, what are you talking about?
You're right.
Yeah, no, but it's who cares which one is which? They're both it's the same side of the
The Joker
coin,
versus
right?
the Batman who laughs.
Right? It's the same. It's the same side of the coin, right? Like it's superhero, supervillain. Same thing.
What are we talking? Anthony get shoved into the corner.
Yep. The medium kick.
That's, oh, get off me. String is not tight. Can be interrupted. Nice settle check. The cancel. Jump over. Once again. Back roll this time from Ouija, so Antony stays same side, but still gets the combo off the pressure. Look for the tick throw. No. Catches the jump back. And
yeah, that was really nice.
yeah,
that was really good.
built some meter as well. Antony now on West Point or match point.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh. Light whip punish on the medium punch. Forward medium punch, I should say.
Okay, yeah. Don't wanna take the mix up.
I think Antony has gotten every single EXDP.
Most
today
I haven't
against-
seen any
against
blocked. Yeah, I haven't seen any blocked.
Wow, what an interrupt. It's like a frame or two before the crouch heavy punch became active.
Oh, this is really dangerous for Ouija. Don't throw a fireball. No, that's what I mean. Don't throw fireballs. Ouija really gotta stop throwing these fireballs. Nice. Yeah.
And that's a tick throw
GG's.
setup. That's another situation that's effectively a 50-50.
Oh, Ouija was doing so well and then just threw a fireball.
Got caught being complacent. You fall into those patterns.
Yeah, it sucks. It's when it's high stress.
Yep.
That was last round, right?
Yep. Yes, it was. Yep. Ouija got caught falling back into that pattern, and Antony took advantage. Well done by Ouija. They do earn 4th place. Unfortunately, no prize for that at the moment, but you have my respect. Over here. I'll move down to the bottom.
Bottom.
Change the names. Losers finals between Antony and Revilo.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Let's do this.
Now, I'll pull back the curtain for y'all a little bit. You can see it if you're in the Smash G. If you're in the Smash GG, I think it shows. But our tournament has played out to expectations. This was our top 3 seeds. Wolfgang number 1. Obviously, that's the winner of our last
Revilo
tournament.
was number 2.
Revilo is number 2.
Antony was number 3.
Yeah, number 3. This is how we had it seated, and this is how it's playing out. Street Fighter Dad, thank you for the follow. Also, shout out to Joey Tattoos, Bacchus, Ouija. I think you said what's up to them, but I'll say it. Thank you.
I forget. I don't know. But this is near the end of the bracket, so it's pretty much just. Oh shoot! Let me. We did that.
Yeah, this is losers finals. It is near the end of the bracket. We will only be having one more set after this, although it may be comprised of 2 parts. We'll see. Crouch Fierce anti-air from Endabio. Revilo once again representing that. Gets to jump into the target combo. Less damage than he could have had otherwise, but it was a confirmation that he made, and it is good for its damage. Slide, throwing it out there, catching Antony walking forward. And now the pressure.
Oh.
Forcing.
Thank you, Kirk, for the
$5.
donation. Alright, I think it. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Revilo not committing here. It is on V-Trigger 2. For access to this exact situation, Zeku and Ken have basically identical V-Trigger 2s, although Zeku's does have anti-air invincibility. So he does get... Zeku gets counter hit if you bait out his V-Trigger 2, but Ken does not. And that has to do with the fact that Zeku's has more invincibility. It is immune to strikes, or to airborne strikes.
Ooh, big counter hit.
Lots of damage.
So much damage.
Optimizing the damage.
That cherry juice.
Roundhouse.
Give me that Kool-Aid.
Does the lights? Does
Yeah.
that keep,
Turn that
keep
lemonade into cherry Kool-Aid. Let's go.
What are you? Revilo cooking up. This game number 1. Mia's talking about cherry juice and lemonade and other things I'm not aware
I'm
of.
thirsty. Can you tell?
I'm not gonna talk very much, she says. No problem, Bacchus. Like I said, we hope to get you in. I know it's not a great time for you normally, but we hope to get you in one day. I got other ideas too. If you can't play on this day, don't worry. I got a plan for people that you definitely gotta play. But for now, we're just staying with the weakness. Oh no, you don't get the jump punish on just regular heavy punch DP. Revilo got a little greedy for damage, and unfortunately didn't find it. So Antony gets the momentum reset, finds the jab combo. Into the V trigger 2 activation. Max damage. Is that delay crouch strong? Catches Revilo trying to get out. Young Zaku also has a wall jump just like Rashid, so we're seeing a lot of mirroring, a lot of foiling going on right here, but Antony's meaty secures that round. Revilo wastes no time. Dashes up again and another slide.
I'm hungry.
Hit me too.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
My desire for victory tacos has not waned. Oh no,
but
that's a pad issue.
We didn't go to the grocery store, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I wanna. We'll see.
Kept safe. Nice confirm on a stand heavy kick by Antony. Bounces up. Max damage out of that V trigger that he could get. See Revilo reasserting that control, that confidence.
And then we slide. Yo,
oh,
no
combo.
confirm. Yeah, I think it was just going to go into that overhead in general, you know.
I love that anti-air.
Punish, yeah.
Right on time, Revilo, well done. Just tell everyone else to play on your schedule.
Mine.
You got it, Chief.
This is my world. My world.
Antony fades out the up kick. Revilo tries to match it back. Gets the
Yo,
flip
I
out.
love that medium punch. That Rufus crouch heavy punch or whatever. Right, that's crouch heavy punch?
Rufus is crouch heavy punch. It's
Yeah.
Old Zaku's crouch medium punch.
Yeah. Rufus.
I'm gonna rewatch Excellent Adventures.
Oh,
gonna watch the
that's
Christmas
big
episode.
damage. No activation though?
Hell yeah.
No activation. Oh, big back throw.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Wait, you can't go into super
You
off of this,
can't.
right?
No, you can't, but you... I don't think it would have killed there anyway, so...
Yeah.
This is still good for Revilo.
Yeah, keep it
Oh,
close.
that's a... What a neutral jump. What a choice.
That was smart. That was real smart to catch the activation.
Yeah,
Yeah, roundhouse or that
The
roundhouse
fish, yeah.
fish attempt. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
Definitely. I mean, we've seen Antony do that. I don't even
I mean,
know if they
'cause the
necessarily
space-
needed to have B-Trigger to do it. Against Ouija, I think we saw it even when they didn't have
Roundhouse
B-Trigger
and
up.
that.
Just
Yeah.
roundhouse, yeah.
Well, that. Yeah, I mean, it's a good button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially back to the wall. That's really good scouting. there
No,
by
it's a
Revilo.
very good button. Yeah. I agree.
Again.
Oh my.
that was supposed to be a
Punish?
jab there.
Was that supposed to be a punish?
Yeah, no, that was a close grab. The foot hit, so
Mm.
Antony was close enough to punish. Just missed the timing. Jab. 4-frame jab, still able
Oh,
to
they're gonna
counter you.
spend all of it? Okay. It's a little scaled, but it's still good damage. And they get the back throw.
And you get it right back. You still have
Yeah.
enough life to get it again. Especially if
Really?
find
You
a
think
fucking-
so? I don't know. Crush counter, yeah. I feel like the round's gonna be over before any of that happens.
Well-
Nice. We love an anti-air DP.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's the easy way to impress us. Is to be on
Right?
point.
Like, always be on point with your anti-air uppercuts? Yeah. I was happy to see it.
If you pick Akuma, somebody jumps at you and you do medium punch DP instead of back heavy punch, you will instantly earn my respect and you will have my attention.
Nice confirm. Meanwhile, though, Antony is kind of cooking.
See, with a barbecue in the name at, okay.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh, no, the pad issue.
Maybe.
It's the thing that happened on the same side as the issue last time. I hope. You know, peripheral issues are the worst. It feels so sad. It's like, am I bad? Is it like, what's that? My fault? Like,
Is my execution trash?
Right?
No, it's the controllers to blame.
Right? You can just blame it on the controller.
Oh, that's water.
Fight.
I thought it was tea.
Oh, you thought it was tea? Might be. I tricked you. Sorry. Oh, wake up uppercut?
Light uppercut. Invincible to throws on frame 1. So definitely an option if you think somebody's gonna try to hit you with the throw loops. Or not the throw loops, but you know what I mean. The meaty throw. Confirm. Just off by the back medium punch. Antony trying to take this to a game 5. The back row. Defensive, unfortunately. Loses the pressure. Got away with the jump top 2. But another neutral jump from Revilo is going to get great damage and corner carry. Especially with the EX here. Will he spend it? No, he switches sides. Okay. Stayed in the middle of the screen. And Antony said, I don't care about none of that. Get off of me now.
Round 2. Fight.
I am not blocking. You will block. Graham safe from this range. The EX version flush from that range. Although Revilo is burning through resources. Antony's sitting on 2 EX bars. Trying to match back with the fireball. The EX Tatsu gets stuffed out by the up ground. Well done by Revilo, who has the screen now. But again, the EX run. He has not gotten value out of those EX runs tonight. What? Slide under the B skill too? Okay. Revilo said, I'm ready for that challenge. Oh, nice. The crouch light kick delayed to catch Antony trying to walk out of the throw. Now Revilo just needs to finish out that light kick. So dangerous, but you have to be wary. Antony, oh, misses the confirm window. So much life saved there from Revilo. And the whiff punish on the roundhouse. One too many attempts from Antony.
It's a point.
Final
It's
round.
a point.
Fight.
Make my seating look really good. No. Antony fighting back.
No, defy fate, Antony. Defy fate.
It's too late now.
No, defy fate. Stop with these roundhouses. Yeah. Alright, counter hit confirmed. Very quick back throw. They both got VT on deck. No VT? Alright, VT for this one.
That's a lot of meter.
That is a lot of meter. That's dead.
That's it. Antony. 69 every time. Last game.
Shout out to Brian F.
Shout out to Brian. We banished Texas from this event because it's not close enough to the west side.
I'm sorry, it's a tournament I would want to enter, and I don't like to enter tournaments with them.
And that's on that.
But hopefully
Upset.
Street Fighter 6 though. Give me that Street Fighter 6 that we can actually like get good connections.
I am not optimistic, but I have hope.
I'm optimistic.
I hope I'm wrong.
I'm gonna be optimistic.
I mean, may it be as playable
The
as
beta
five,
felt
I
good.
guess.
The beta felt good.
Sure.
To me it did.
I know
All
Antony's
right.
feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, very close to stun.
Mm.
All right, another throw. No, shimmy.
What?
Then the throw. Quick shimmy, then the throw.
Yes. Leave no doubt. Match point here for Antony.
Yeah, no, is this reverse Rio?
Round 2.
This
Yeah,
reverse,
it
the
is.
reverse Rio, right? I was about to say,
Well,
like.
we're on pace for it.
Alright, +1. Ooh.
Oh, the dash up landing.
Yeah, but the counter hit
Yeah.
wasn't confirmed. Slide. It's slide. It don't matter. We slide when we don't get our counter hit confirmed.
That was in time? That was in range?
Revilo's been counter hit a lot this swing. I feel like that's a big key to this momentum shift. Like these counter hits that actually kind of on both sides.
Yeah. It's a good challenge. Yeah.
Slugging.
Again, these two are familiar with each other's games, so you're gonna see those challenges. Oh,
No
that's a
super.
lot of
Yeah.
meter.
You can't.
Nah,
At the very
that
end.
wasn't
Yeah.
cancelable by the time you got the meter. No, but that's it.
That's
Enough.
dead.
Jump
That's
on.
dead.
The sequence. You mentioned how often challenges decided the fate of this match, right? Both players using those light attacks to challenge each other. I think that time Revilo was probably trying to tech
This
and got
is
caught by delayed crouch
Grand
strong.
finals now, right? Damn. Alright.
Yep. So Antony takes it, goes into grand finals, loser side. Although Antony right now should be feeling confident because they did not lose to Wolfgang. They got put in the losers by
Oh, Wolfgang's already
Luigi.
here? Oh, let's go back down, yeah. Might be.
There you go. Wolfgang following up.
Nice.
Both of these two in the money. We are in grand finals here. Wolfgang winner side.
Oh, let me change the thingy. Antony's first, and then.
Supposed to be filling the space with advertising. Sorry, I was watching me type.
What?
Shout outs to everybody who's donated to the Matcherino tonight. We reached $50, so we actually will be paying both of these players out.
Yay!
Round of
Thank you
applause for
guys.
We love to see it. We will be back next Wednesday,
Wednesday.
The 20
Wednesday.
the 21st, on Westside Smackdown number 3. Appreciate all you all tuning in. Give a follow if you haven't.
Or not. It's cool.
Oh, you don't. Then you won't know when we're live.
I mean, well, we are live with that.
Yeah. Okay. East Wiener.
Sure,
good
you
punish
can.
there from Antony. Yeah, that's on deck. That's definitely part of this matchup. That's something Wolfgang's got to be aware of. Oh, no cancel off the second crouch jab. Wolfgang finds the crush counter and gets out of the corner. Look at the V-trigger move. The rolling thunder. Anti-airing behind Blanca. And then hitting in front of Blanca. Wolfgang says, rolling thunder doing whatever I needed to do. EX Blanca ball there. Safe. You see, Antony is on V-trigger 1 here. So for this matchup specifically, Antony said, no, I need a bigger gun. I need an extra bar. Nice punish. That's an underrated 4-frame punish.
Thank you for the raid, Revilo.
Ooh.
GG's. Thank you for entering. It was a good run.
It's unfortunate, Antony.
That medium punch, that swipe. Slide, big slide.
Big punish. Antony for the shimmy doesn't come. Wolfgang patient. Found the jab. Safe jumps.
We like it. I like safe jumps too. I think they look cool. No, sweet.
Another
See?
one? Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a little Street Fighter 4 action going on here. Oh, whoa, okay. Get it under control. There we go. Wolfgang. Stabilize.
Now we got some Street Fighter 5 action. Button activate. That was a lot of meter too. A lot of V meter. A lot of an EX at the end too. Jeez.
Very high voltage block string.
Oh, VT1 here?
Yeah. That's what I mentioned. Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Big EX. That's dead. Damn. Wow. Up one game.
Not sure.
Block
Well,
win.
Wolfgang, quick to
Miss inputs or punishes. There's some big punishes.
Yeah, it's a failed buffer. Something was supposed to come
Yeah.
out and buffer into it, but the window was incorrect. Yeah, something like that.
Something
Round 1.
Something happened.
Or the hardest read of 2022.
Or that too. Yeah.
Right at the very end, but I doubt that very much.
Right. Man, I don't know. You never know.
Regardless, Wolfgang took advantage. Now you're starting to see that calm. Oh, punish here. But Antony didn't get the read on which Blanca ball it was in time. This time does get the dash up crouch medium
Full
punch with
punish
confidence.
too.
And then the cross cut. Wolfgang would have accepted that to get out of the corner, but you don't like it when they jump over your head.
Yeah, no, we ain't. Okay, I was about to say like Wolfgang's not gonna tech, but they are gonna get hit by that uppercut, that psychic light uppercut.
There have been so many of those. You know, I'm trying not to make content out of the on-stream content, but the Antony DP,
The psychic light DPs.
the Ume Shoryu counter is getting racked up.
Oh no, DP.
I thought that was
You could have a DP there,
yeah,
right?
or like you get something before. I thought can't have those.
Me too. Maybe they tried it and I don't know. You don't know.
Pad issues, right?
Something.
You never. That's the frustration.
You never
can't
can know.
Till Antony tells you. Okay.
Ooh,
Doesn't cross
got-
up. I got hit.
Yeah. Delay throw. Ooh, quick activate. Gonna side switch. Nice whip punish.
Has to spin the meter to finish the round. But Wolfgang.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get the meter back. It's just scary at the first, cause he has, like, Antony, he has meter, like, a quick, like, button and EX Tatsu into the middle of, like, into the corner is, like, ooh. Ooh, big side.
Or even trying to take pressure here after you get the knockdown if you're Wolfgang.
EXCP. Yeah.
You gotta respect a lot, but Wolfgang navigating that offense very well.
I mean, look at that space control. Wolfgang's almost pushed Antony out in the corner.
Look
Yeah,
at that.
alrighty. But sweeps. We got sweeps too.
Oh,
Misconfirmed.
Big punish. Oh!
No big punish.
What's the link?
I don't know.
Didn't come.
Who knows? Big hops. Big hops.
Another one different side. Good block from Antony. Wolfgang has B-trigger now. Went for the side
Oh my
activate,
gosh.
and then the roundhouse activate, and they both failed. Antony
Oh my
hitting
gosh.
all the right buttons. Trying to prevent going down 0-2 here. Antony was able to reverse sweep Revilo, but you know he would like to have a much less stressful grand final set. Oh, but the light DP actually gets punished? Rare footage?
Dead.
And then the finish?
Dead.
It wasn't the V-trigger like Shoryuken.
No.
So it had more recovery.
Jeez.
But still Wolfgang fast enough on the trigger to get that to win game number 2.
Why with the DPs? The psychic DPs are the downfall.
That is truly the way of Ume Shoryu.
Right? Like, I mean...
Starbout 369, thank you so much for the follow.
It is a risk? Hi.
Punch him. Pop him in the mouth. I tell you that's one of my favorite buttons
Which
in
one?
Street Fighter 5.
Crouch heavy punch?
Crouch heavy punch.
I do like it too.
I've liked it since CVS too, so I still like it. The jab pressure,
Yeah,
staggering them up.
Good damage.
Oh no,
punish?
that's punish,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
definitely a punish. Side switch too.
Yeah, that's really good for Wolfgang. Sweep and activate. That chases down if that V-shift doesn't activate that crush counters. It's a nice little option select here for Wolfgang.
Nice. Yeah, the offense has been really
Yay,
really-
representation!
really calculated, you know.
One of the worst command grabs in the game finally gets an appearance.
Like, no, the set play has been very, very, very potent. Like on Wolfgang's side.
Yeah, always is.
Yeah.
Oh, that was probably supposed to be a ramble. Nice confirm from Antony. This is tournament point for Wolfgang.
I was
Looking
gonna
to get
say
out of here
Antony
with
got to
clean.
throw him a little bit more, yeah.
Oh,
No punish.
Yeah, the activation.
Well,
on
the
that.
activation, yeah.
You're not worried about getting activated on in that instance though, because it'll swallow up your button.
That's true.
But still, Antony wasn't dead. Was ready for their that anti-air Shoryuken. The
Up
bust
all.
out. I
Yeah.
got invincibility too, buddy. Oh, fierce.
Hop. Oh my gosh, so many counter hits. No throws.
No shimmy.
Punish, no punish.
No, again,
Uh-oh.
the stagger opportunity.
Oh,
Wolfgang
big damage.
found extra damage.
That's a lot of damage.
Okay. Yo, Wolfgang might have actually. No,
It's
never
a
mind.
lot of damage. It's not dead.
No, not even close.
It's just yeah, I was about to say though a conversion though. Oh, that didn't kill.
Pressure.
Activate, yeah, throw.
What?
That's
Doesn't
not dead
kill.
though.
One
That's
more.
not dead.
Walk back. Shake my hand. GG's.
Very convincing. Yeah.
Got scary at the end there.
It got
a couple
it
rounds.
was a little scrambly at the end. Yeah, it was a back and forth, but
Overall, Wolfgang
GG.
showing the class. A cut above, and our back-to-back two-time Westside Smackdown champion Wolfgang
2 times.
defeated Chris CCH in grand finals last week. This week takes down Antony Barbecue, saying, "Y'all lucky I didn't get here in time to enter the West Coast CPT event,
Oh, the CPT West Coast.
the World Warrior." Yeah.
Well, I think they entered a couple of them.
Yeah, but they weren't here from the beginning.
No, I don't think so. I can't remember.
They moved like halfway through.
All right, well.
GG's to
GG's,
everybody. Well
GG's.
done, Wolfgang. Our winner once again, Wolfgang.
Hope things ran a little bit smoother this time. Thank you, everyone who donated, everyone like watching, everyone who participated. Thank you guys so much.
This is tricky, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing.
We got a $55 pool, so we'll be distributing that amongst our top two.
Our top 2.
So Wolfgang, Antony, please join the Matcherino if you would. Try to get you paid out tonight. GG's to everyone involved. This was a lot of fun.
We'll
We
be
are
back
gonna
next week.
be back next week, the 21st of December, 7 p.m. Pacific. Star GG will be going up around Friday-ish or so, as will the Hidden Gems. If you are not aware of it, Mira and I will be going back through the footage that CFN tracks
Some.
that will... Well, I'll be going through all of it. Oh no, I don't
What are you
have
doing?
us
Yeah,
followed.
here.
I don't have us followed on this. This
I-
channel doesn't have us.
Yes, it is.
Does it?
Yes, it
Oh,
does.
subscribe. Anyway, we do a segue sucks.
Yeah, it does. But it's okay. We can.
Hidden
jump.
Gems, Volume 1, up now. Catching the off-stream moments from Westside Smackdown #1.
You know, this,
Mia's gonna put it in the chat.
it's just a YouTube, if you want, I guess.
We're gonna be doing the same thing. Oh, that's to the channel. We're gonna be doing the same thing for Westside Smackdown #2. So anything you didn't catch on stream, we're gonna be looking to find the best and the brightest highlights to have that ready for you all on Friday as well.
Just
So,
want to showcase that West Coast talent.
absolutely get everybody involved, even those people we couldn't see on stream.
I'm sleepy and
So-
hungry though. But we appreciate you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you all
Yeah.
for tuning in. Thank you all our players. We love you all. We will see you.
Yay, it was fun. See, some people said it was fun, so I told you.
Tacos?
I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
I don't know if we'll have tacos. We'll talk about tacos.
GG. See you all next week.
GG's. All right. Love y'all. Be safe.